welcome to Retro Reprise. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you have an even better weekend. I'm going to make an adjustment to the camera here. Because, there we go. There we go. I was supposed to show all that. As you can see, I've got two TVs going at the same time. Check that out. I've been setting up a new workstation. Been working in the game room. So I've got two TVs and like 10 consoles on that thing. So, how is your week going? Mine has been, it's been long, but I took today off. I took Friday off, and I am tired, but I'm good. I got to work on a bunch of stuff. I actually went and got some dust covers for some NES games. So my local game exchange had this thing going on. They're like, I was in there to buy an Atari game, and I had noticed that they had a NES dust cover in their shelf, and they're like, hey, it's like, hey, how much you selling your dust covers for? And they're like 50 cents a piece. I said, okay, I'll come back some other time and get some. They're like, well, we got a bunch of them. We just don't know what to do with them. So we're trying to get rid of what we got. So I waited until I could get a day off from work, and I took a day off today, sort of a mental health day. And I said, okay. I went in. I said, I want 50 dust covers. And they're like, well, we don't have 50 dust covers. We have 40 of them. I said, fine, I'll take 40 of them. So I got 40 NES dust covers. Now, normally they sell, if you usually go to a convention or you go out and you buy them somewhere, they usually cost about $1 a piece. And, well, I got them for 50 cents a piece. So I got 40 dust covers. I'm going to be looking at a place that does reproduction dust covers. So I might do a review or something like that as soon as those come in. But you kind of you assemble them yourselves. They're sort of like envelopes. You piece them together. Anyway, I've got a couple of stories to go over tonight. And we're going to start off with Saban sells Power Rangers for $522 million. Now, I'm not a super huge Power Rangers fan. When Power Rangers originally aired, I think I was a freshman in high school. And I used to, that was sort of the bonding time between my brother and I. We would watch, Batman the Animated Series and Animaniacs and stuff like that. And then Power Rangers was sort of the last show in the lineup. And we'd watch that together, and then we'd go out in the backyard and play fight. My brother's 12 years younger than I am, so it was really fun because we could just bounce off of each other and bounce off the walls, and it was a whole lot of fun to do. So I really enjoyed that. But as far as like anything past the first two seasons, I don't really have any kind of memory of, or I sort of lost interest in them. I think when they made their movie, after that first Power Rangers movie, where they got like the leather suits, it was kind of cool. YouTube chat, yeah. There's been, thanks Yosh. Yeah, the chat, man, I probably spent the last hour trying to get everything to work. Something happened between OBS and everything else. So OBS kind of took a crap, and I had to go back and reinsert everything over again. So the chat may not be working. Yeah, I was trying to get. I was noticing that the chat wasn't working on YouTube. I was hoping it was just a bug, but I'll have to go back with my main chat and see if I can get it back up. But kind of hit the deadline. I'd spent the past hour and a half trying to get everything to work. So it's always a crapshoot when doing these live streams, whether my stuff's going to work or not. So that's part of the problem. But yeah, we're going to get into this again. So in a very strange move, because I don't know what kind of popularity Power Rangers has now. This is coming from Newsarama, but when I was looking around for news, there was news all over the place for this. One from like some sort of like Jewish Times, because Chaim Saban, you got to really put the phlegm in it. It's Chaim. Okay, so Yoshi, you're a huge Power Rangers fan. That's cool. This is one of those things like Power Rangers came out at a time for me where I was a little old for it, but that was the show that my brother and I would watch together. So even though I feel like I was maybe a little too old for the show, I would watch it regularly, and I enjoyed the show. And I would catch some other stuff, VR Troopers and Beetleborgs and all that other stuff. But Power Rangers was sort of the main one in the U.S. Yeah, the film. You know what? I watched the newest Power Rangers movie, and I didn't think it was that bad. I could see where if you were a hardcore fan that it would be horrible. Like I could see where if you were really tied into the characters and the way the show was presented, because they tried to modernize it a little bit. Instead of being like perfect teenagers like the television show was, the movie, these were kids that were kind of like badass and, not always doing the right thing. But this is sort of an odd move. But anyway, Saban sold Power Rangers over to Hasbro. So Hasbro is going to be taking over the Power Rangers license. Is it really? I know there's a new series that's coming out from Japan. I know they're working on a new Power Rangers series. I don't know if you're jacking with me or if you're being serious there with moms protecting kids. Though that would be a Power MILFs or something. I don't know. Anyway, so... Well, there's really not much in the article for context, but it's just mostly it's a lot of corporate like, hey, we're really glad to be buying this series, and Saban's like, hey, I'm really glad to be selling the series. I'm glad to be on, as a consultant. So it is Mom Power Rangers. Okay, hey, whatever works. Honestly, well, in the Japanese one, the themes are kind of specific, so I guess Soccer Mom Team Power Rangers works just as well as, I think with the original Power Rangers, they were the Jew Rangers, and they what is it? They were actually from like prehistoric times, and they had like these different costumes. So yeah, hopefully Hasbro will. You know what? The Power Rangers toys, again, not super into Power Rangers, so I don't really have a horse in the race, but the Power Rangers toys looked cool. They looked, for the most part, pretty well sculpted. The newer toy lines, I don't know about the older ones. I remember they had ones with like really big chests, and you could like pop their head, and they would go from like the human head to the Power Ranger head. That's about all I know about them. But there's some interesting things in here that come along with the Power Rangers property. My Pet Monster, Popples, Julius Jr., I don't know who that is, Luna Petunia, and Treehouse Detectives. If we're looking for a big 80s boom, My Pet Monster and Popples, which I haven't heard about Popples in forever. That would be really, I think something like Popples would do good in this time frame. I think kids would love Popples. No, I might be mistaken, but My Pet Monster wasn't there like a reissue of My Pet Monster a few years ago? Yosh, you'll know. But yeah, My Pet Monster was pretty cool. So basically, we'll get into this article a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot of corporate speak. It's really funny because they're just approaching this as like this is just an acquisition, which it is. But no one's like, hey man, this is really cool. We got Power Rangers. This is so I'll read this out because it's really funny. Power Rangers is an iconic brand built on the heritage of great storytelling and merchandising with tremendous upside potential when fully executed across Hasbro's brand blueprint, said Hasbro Chairman CEO Brian Goldner. Shortly after entering into our license agreement, it became clear that now was the time to begin investing and unlocking Power Rangers' full potential. We see significant opportunity for Power Rangers across our entire brand blueprint, including toys and games, consumer products, digital gaming and entertainment, as well as geographically throughout our global retail footprint. We couldn't be more pleased with Hayam Saban that Hayam Saban will continue a consulting role to further guide the development in this valuable property for the next generation of Power Rangers fans. Let's see. And they were talking about Hasbro took over the Power Rangers Master Toy license in February 2018. And let's see. It also says, okay, yeah, and they plan on releasing Power Rangers products beginning spring of 2009. Now, as far as I know, Power Rangers has kind of shifted around more lately. I think Nickelodeon had it for a while, and then Disney had the Power Rangers, at least the television show. I don't know about the toys. They're saying in February of 2018 is when Hasbro acquired them. I don't know who was making toys before, but it seems interesting. I'm gonna not keep a close eye on this one, but because we just had the Power Rangers movie, you would think that they would be working on a sequel to it. So that's the first piece of news. Like I said, it's Power Rangers. Outside of the original, like first 2 or 3 seasons, I don't know. Was it Bandai? Okay, that would make sense, because I think Bandai doesn't Bandai own the actual Japanese property? I think Bandai was the original owners of the series that it's based off of. And if I were more learned about it, I would remember the name, but nope. So I am tired. I didn't get to take my pre-game nap that I usually do. So it's another podcast of just being exhausted. But that's okay. We got some cool news. So I'm going to move on to this next one, which is the Mega Man 30th anniversary collections here, or cartridges. They're re-releasing. So I've got this pulled up on screen, but they're gonna do a Mega Man 2 NES release. It's going to have a couple of different cartridges. There's one, they call it glow-in-the-dark blue, but I don't know if it's just a baby blue. But there's the 30th anniversary Mega Man 2 box. There's one cartridge, which is, like I said, I don't know if that's their glow-in-the-dark blue or I don't know. But then there's another one that's in this sort of, it's a darker blue, but you can see through the case. So these are going to be really cool. I'm going through the pictures here. And they're going to be about $100 a piece. So this Mega Man 2 30th anniversary collection is $30, or is going to be, sorry, $100. It's 30th anniversary. And here's the Mega Man X version. That looks like a white cartridge or very pale gray. Here's one in the blue. Ooh, it will randomly contain a rare glow-in-the-dark blue cartridge. Okay, so the dark blue is the glow-in-the-dark cartridge. That's interesting. Cool. But yeah, this is something that Capcom's not too unfamiliar with. They just did the Street Fighter Collector's Edition. And it was a reissue, I think, of a red cartridge. And so it's kind of cool to see Capcom doing this. I don't know if there's much in the way of an article here. It's Polygon. Let's see. Capcom and IM 8-Bit are re-releasing two Mega Man classics, Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X, in physical form. Both games will get a 30th anniversary classic cartridge released later this year. The cartridges, Mega Man 2 for the NES and Mega Man X for the Super NES, are limited to 8,500 copies each. Each comes with a $100 price tag and will include deluxe packaging and premium instruction booklets. Each cartridge houses the original game code on a brand new PCB and are fully playable on NTSC consoles, according to a release from Capcom and IM 8-Bit. The Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X 30th Anniversary Classic cartridge will come in two colors, a standard opaque version and a smaller batch, 1,000 each, of a translucent glow-in-the-dark blue. Cartridges will be randomly inserted into sealed, unmarked boxes, so what's inside will be a surprise. Okay. Well, that seems really cool. I don't know if I'm going to toss the $100 on each one, but I know for collectors that this would be a really cool thing to have. I like Mega Man. I'm not as obsessed with Mega Man as a lot of other people are. So personally, I'm probably going to pass up on this. I'd rather spend my money on, the R-Type. Oh, your muscles came in? Yosh, are they awesome? Yosh and I had a conversation, a few weeks ago, and I was telling him about I think it was Super 7, and they were making He-Man muscles, which I love muscles. I kind of want to start a collection of those, but I have no space to put them anywhere. Right now I'm working on renovating the game room here, so that's where my money is going for the next 6-7 weeks. But yeah, that's the Mega Man 30th Anniversary re-releases, and those are really cool. I think that's going to be a really cool thing. I think the price point is actually pretty good considering the crowd that they're targeting here. You're going after collectors, you're going after retro guys, so there's probably a lot of people who will go for that. So that's a good. I like that one. So I'm going to move on here to the other anniversary. Now this one I plan on getting because I don't have anything like this. With Mega Man and Mega Man X, I've got all the collections. So on PS2 there was like a Mega Man 15th anniversary collection and a Mega Man X collection, and I have both of those, and those are very much playable, very great games. So I have my Mega Man fix, so I don't need something like this, but I can see where a lot of people would really enjoy that. They do need to do Mega Man X3 though on a re-release cartridge. That would be nice. But we're going to move on here. This is coming from Variety of all places. So what we're looking at here is a 40th anniversary NEO GEO Mini console. And it's going to be a mini barcade tabletop arcade game. And this looks super cool to me. So this, like, I like Mega Man. but this is something that I find really fascinating. So let's get into the article, and then we'll get back into it. And this dude, I can't remember his name, but he was the one who broke it. He was the one who broke the story. Anyway, so last month, the Japanese video game hardware and software company SNK teased a 40th anniversary mini edition of its NEO GEO console on Twitter. And now we might know what it looks like thanks to a leak by an anonymous source. Yeah, so this dude got an email, and it had this picture in it, showing what the SNK 40th anniversary mini console would look like. And it's really cool. So this thing's got to have a lot of stuff. Stickers. You can go buy NEO GEO controllers for it. And I'd really like to see it. I think I read somewhere it's a 3.5. Yeah, it's a 3.5-inch screen. So let's get back into this. YouTuber Spawnwave. Yep, that's the dude. That's Spawnwave right there. Posted a video on Thursday with details on the new NEO GEO Mini. It looks like a tiny arcade cabinet with a 3.5-inch screen, a built-in analog joystick, and buttons. There's also an HDMI port for people who want to play on a bigger screen, of course, along with standard headphone jacks. Ports on either side of the Mini allow 2 players to plug in wired black and white USB-C controllers. I don't know if do they have the pictures of the controllers? No, but they're like the NEO GEO CD system. So it's the micro switch thumbstick with the 4 buttons. Let's see. The NEO GEO Mini reportedly comes with 40 preloaded games. Fans of the fighting game genre will be happy to see it well represented here. About 5 King of Fighters titles makes the appearance, along with Samurai Showdown, Fatal Fury, and another 6 titles from SNK Run and Gun Metal Slug franchise. It's also got my personal favorite, Last Resort, which is an awesome shooter game. If you like R-Type, you would love Last Resort. It's a great game. And let's see. These are all standard games, Spawnwave said. There's nothing here that really jumps out for me from the listing that was sent over. Yeah, it's still 40 games. It's 40 games on a mini barcade tabletop system, which and it's NEO GEO, so it's going to be good stuff. So while Spawnwave claimed that all his information was sent to him randomly by an anonymous source, this is a source that would have this kind of information for reasons on their end, he said. He also said he checked out other people who have seen the system and confirmed the information he received was accurate. And then they get into the history. The NEO GEO was a cartridge-based gaming console released by SNK in the 90s. While it never gained popularity in the US, it gained a cult following over the years and is now considered a highly valuable collectible. There's no word yet when the NEO GEO Mini will launch or how much it will cost. SNK did not immediately respond to Variety's request for comment. I like... This is how you know somebody doesn't know what's going on. The NEO GEO was a cartridge-based gaming system released by SNK in the 1990s, while it never gained popularity in the US. That's a lie. The MVS was very popular, but the AES was just too expensive for anybody to buy. And everybody wanted SNK. Everybody... If you saw an SNK NEO GEO, like, magazine ad, you knew you wanted it, but you knew that system was going to be way too expensive. Especially when you compare it to other consoles at the time. Oh, you have a lead on an AES? Cool. AliExpress has got an MVS like player. So you can get MVS games, since their MVS games are cheaper. So, but an AES would be really, really cool. But anyway, going back to this, the NEO GEO systems were way too expensive back in the day, and collecting them now is really for people who have a lot of extra money to just blow on stuff. But The AES system cartridges, I guess, are a little bit different from the MVS, even though they look like they're about the same size. They're huge cartridges. But if you can get an MVS and get MVS games, those are cheaper. And probably because they were, you want the AES multi-cart? Yeah, that'd be cool. The reason is probably because there's a lot more NEO Geo arcade systems out there with, you know, where you could have one game up to, I think I've seen one up to 6 games, but the more common ones you had 1, 2, or 4 game systems, and getting a hold of those cartridges don't seem to be too bad. And strangely enough, there's a huge different pin outputs. Okay, that makes sense. Well, this MVS system that you can go buy actually takes Sega Saturn controllers, and it you have to spend a little bit extra money, but it does have it does do the conversion to RGB. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and that console only runs about like $150. That's one I'm thinking long and hard about. That would be really cool. But with this one, if they keep the price point within, I would say $150, that would be an easy buy for me. But from everything that I've read so far, and there's not a whole lot of information. Like I said, there's no price point, there's no release date. They just kind of maybe accidentally sent this out. But you can add controllers, you can attach it to a bigger television. I'd just keep this on a counter somewhere and play it whenever. It just looks like a cool piece of hardware. And really, in this age of mini consoles, this is, even at $150, it's still a good deal. You're getting more games which you usually get on an NES or SNES Mini. I don't even remember how many games are going to be on the Genesis Mini when At Games releases that. And if they go with a good solid company for this emulation, then it's going to be amazing. 300 to 500? I think that's going to be out of a lot of people's price range. I think if they want to sell this and they want to make money, then they want to keep it into the 150 price range. I understand that they're making hardware for it, but I mean, it's all emulation, and it's not going to cost them any money for the licensing since they're all SNK games. Yeah, this is a different thing. This is going to be much smaller. It's a 3.5 inch screen. It's a 3.5 inch screen, so it's significantly smaller, and that would be the size of it would keep it down. Hopefully the controller and the buttons and stuff like that's quality. But yeah, a regular barcade tabletop is usually around 350. That's the lowest on a MAME system. But this is, well, and that's the other thing to consider. This is probably running off of ARM chips, so it's going to be cheap to manufacture, and I'm hoping they keep it in the, if this, like I said, if it's in the 150 price range, this is something that I'll get. Yeah, NEO Geo Gold was in the $200 price range, but it dropped very quickly because it was a piece of crap. So they've got a little playing around to do, and because their last real big tribute system failed the way it did, I think they're going to keep the price range down. And because if they do, this is a big money maker for them, and I'd like to see that happen. But yeah, NEO Geo Mini, and there's accessories to buy. Apparently, if you get this, there's going to be stickers that you can slap on the side of the console. So I'm looking forward to this. This is one that I'm going to keep an eye on, and like I said, if it's in the 150 range, I'm going to pick one up because this is really, really cool. This is a collector's item worth getting. This is definitely worth You know, at least at $150. Now, past that, I don't know, maybe up to $200. But anything past that, I don't think I'll go for. But that's the NEO GEO Mini. Super excited about that. And we're gonna move on to some not so great news, not so hot news. So, game critic Total Biscuit says he's retiring. I don't have long left. So this is coming out of Kotaku. I don't know why I picked Kotaku for this, because they do their typical jab. So even though I'm going to be talking about Total Biscuit for the most part, they do put a jab in here. I might read that jab and just kind of give a little commentary on that. This is the issue that I have with Kotaku sometimes. So anyway, earlier, Total Biscuit. First of all, chances are if you're a video game fan, even if you haven't subscribed to Total Biscuit, you've probably heard or seen one of his reviews. Yeah, I know, it's Kotaku, man. Oh, we'll get into Kotaku a little bit. So I'm gonna read the article. This is from, we'll call him out, Jason Schreiler. All right. YouTube personality John Total Biscuit Bain is retiring as a game critic, he said today, citing his failing health and telling fans that he believes he will die soon. This was posted on Tuesday, and this went to his Reddit. Now, essentially, all the news articles pretty much do say the same thing. He's got quotes. So what he said was, "I went into the hospital a week or so ago. It was accompanied by the news that conventional chemotherapy effectiveness has been exhausted." Bain wrote in a lengthy Reddit post on our Cynical Brit official. So he's also known as the Cynical Brit or Total Biscuit. I've known him as Total Biscuit. The subreddit devoted to him and his fans. He added that the doctor told him his liver was failing and that he is currently coming to terms with the fact that I don't have long left. That will most likely be my last health update unless some miracle happens or we do indeed find a trial that can do something despite the damage to my liver, Bain wrote. I'd ask people not to speculate about how long I might have left. I deliberately left out some details to try to reduce the behavior, though it might very well have the opposite effect. All I do know is the kind of thing is upsetting for some of my viewers that read it, and I'd rather not encourage it. I've already exceeded the usual lifespan of someone with my condition, so whatever numbers people come up with are just that. Bain said he would continue making YouTube videos and Twitch streams, transitioning from criticism to co-op gameplay with his wife, Jenna Bain, adding that he hopes that she takes over his video presence when he dies. I fully expect the co-optional podcast to go on, and I love the thought that once I'm gone, the channel will go on in my absence, hosted by the person who knows me best and has been with me for the better part of my adult life. Bain, who is 33, which is super young, built a career on YouTube playing, critiquing, and announcing over games like World of Warcraft and StarCraft. He has developed a reputation for outspoken critical stances on a number of game industry-related issues, oftentimes courting controversy in the process. Okay, here is where I have a problem with Kotaku, right here. In late 2015, he started a Steam group called the Frame Rate Police, with the goal of informing PC gamers when games could not run higher than 30 frames per second. When members of the group flooded the Steam page of a game whose developer chose to hide the Frame Rate Police's listing, Bain had to warn his fans against harassment. Why even include that in the article? Like, that doesn't even seem like that's relevant. Here's a dude who's saying, hey, look, I don't have too much longer to live. I've got cancer. I'm not critiquing video games anymore. I'm going to continue on doing the podcast. I'm going to continue doing, co-op gameplay with my wife. You know, why do you have to dig? Why do you have to sit there and jab a nail into it, man? Kotaku, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. In 2014, Bain announced that he had been diagnosed with bowel cancer, although the cancer later entered remission. It reemerged last year and has spread over his liver and spine. It has been a privilege, wrote Bain. Thank you all for letting me into your life and do something that is important as to have an impact on how you spend your hard-earned money. So this is a real bummer. And I hate to report on stuff like this, but I think it's important. So if you got a few shekels to toss towards him, I'm sure he's got a Kickstarter, not a Kickstarter, a Patreon. And if you can't donate any money, then watch his shows. Chances are, if you love video games and you love anything to do with video games, you've probably seen or heard or seen something from him. Total Biscuit's been on the internet forever, and he's built up a decent empire. And I hate to see stuff like this happen. Now, some of the things that aren't mentioned in this, he talks about how the treatments are making him foggy. And basically that's what happens with chemo. Both my parents deal with cancer, and both of them have to do chemo treatments, and it's not. By the time they get done, at first they're okay, but over a couple of days they get foggy. They're not thinking like they normally do. It's one of those things. He's been, he's basically telling people, like, let's not speculate about my death, because that's got to be a bummer if you happen to like end up start reading what people have to say about if you're gonna live or not, or how long you're gonna live for. But super young, 33 is very, very young. I'm older than Total Biscuit by a lot. I'm older than Rich from Review Tech USA, believe it or not. But like I said, I hate to see stuff like this. I support his family. Support him as long as you can. Like I said, if you can't donate anything to his Patreon, then watch his videos on YouTube, and he's got really good content. So it's not like you're going to be suffering there. But I hate to see this. I really do. But yeah, that's the news with Total Biscuit right now. I'm hoping. Let's hope for a miracle. If you're someone who believes in God, you pray, you do things like that, then I know thoughts and prayer. I know the big thing right now is to slam thoughts and prayers, but science can't do anything for them. So we have thoughts and prayers. So if you don't totally hate on that, then send some thoughts and prayers their way. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't hurt anybody. But I'm going to wrap this up with I'm going to talk about Free Comic Book Day. So tomorrow, Saturday, is Cinco de Mayo. Oh, by the way, may the 4th be with you. I posted some stuff up on Instagram. I've been working on my shelving here, and I popped in a little Atari Star Wars the arcade game and had that playing. But tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, is Free Comic Book Day, and I'm going to show you guys something. I meant to grab this earlier. I actually got my free comic a week early, and mine's autographed. I don't know if that's going to show up. It's autographed right here. There we go. So this year, one thing that my town's been doing that's really, really cool, and I'm sure this is going on in other towns, but maybe it's just mine, I don't know. But they'll have local artists do the covers. So there was a local artist that did the cover here, and I don't know their name. Let me see if I can find their name. No, I don't see a signature. Maybe it's one of those hidden signatures. Anyway, You're so sad about Free Comic Book Day because all they give out now is stuff they can't sell. Well, there are free comics. This is essentially just a promo. This whole thing is an ad. But I really dig this because the reason is because that background you're looking at is our local courthouse that's in my town. And you can see there's a Cyberman there. And then we have my favorite doctor, Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor. Now, the Fourth Doctor doesn't actually appear in the book, but the Fourth Doctor is definitely my favorite. This is signed. I got to go get a bag and board for this, which I might go out and do tomorrow. So if you have... So comic book stores are usually giving away these. These are just promos. This has got like, you know, a couple page clips out of, you know, several stories of ongoing stories. Here's a story with the Sixth Doctor. But pick up some free comics, even if they're back issues that nobody's reading. Go ahead and pick those up. But maybe spend some money and get a comic book. I love Free Comic Book Day because there is something to celebrate with comic books, even though the industry's kind of starting to flatline. Hopefully Marvel will turn that around. DC's been killing it with what is it? Batman White Knight and Mr. Miracle and stuff like that. So and next month in July, no, in a couple months, then there's gonna be that He-Man and Injustice comic that's gonna be coming out. So go enjoy your free comic. I've been meaning to read. I got a bunch of like graphic novels that I haven't even dived into yet because I've been working on other stuff. But Free Comic Book Day is awesome, and I am tired. I'm beat. So I'm gonna wrap this up, I think. But thank you everyone for joining me. If you're watching live, thank you. Yosh, thanks for joining me in the comments. Even though apparently YouTube isn't working, that sucks. Yeah, because I can see. I see you on the YouTube stream, but that's not showing up in the main stream here. So I'll have to figure that out. And if there's any kind of technical glitches or anything, I apologize. I've had a hard time with OBS this week. So, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for all the views, all the recent subs, all that stuff. Thank you. And I will see you next week.